Let's talk about what's happened to me this month. Now, in all honesty, this hasn't just been the month of March. It actually started in February for me when I realized that I was so depressed and mentally overwhelmed and overstimulated that something had to change. And after a good 3 little mental breakdowns, I decided that I needed to take a break from short form content. I witness myself a lot. As a coach, I've been trained to practice self-awareness, which means not necessarily doing anything or judging my behavior as best as I can. We're all really good at judging things, but watching and connecting patterns, making sense of patterns. So I knew, okay, I don't feel very good. I don't feel very creative. I don't feel connected to people. I don't want to connect to people. I don't feel like I'm important. I don't feel like I matter. I feel insecure, blah, 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 blah. And I watched myself hour after hour. Every time there was a moment of silence or an in-between, grab for my phone. And that's a pattern. It felt like temporary relief, but in the long run, I don't think it was positively contributing to my life at all. In fact, it just made me compare myself all the time and feel as though I was behind, or feel like it didn't matter if I put anything out there because there's hundreds of thousands of people doing the same thing better than I ever could. And it also was giving me this feeling of I needed to do something to be important or to feel relevant, to feel like my life had purpose and meaning. All of that was made up. It was all manufactured, and I couldn't see a way out, so I stopped. There are a few things that gave me the courage to stop. One, being a coach for so long, because I have developed a large toolbox to help me regulate my nervous system, or modulate my nervous system, to help me cognitively understand and take small actions to help myself. People to listen to in long form ways to help me remember who I am and what I'm doing and why it's important, and give insight into what's possible for the trajectory of my life. And I opened the door to communing with my body in a new way early in February by becoming a fascial maneuvers coach via Human Garage. That was a big life changer for me. Ever since I got out of high school and had my first real big girl job, I've wanted to do something in the field of health and the body. And I chose coaching first because it's what got me out of a very tumultuous relationship. It freed me mentally and emotionally in a way so that I had more choice and ownership of my life, and completely changed the trajectory of my life. So once I experienced that, I was like, well, I want to help other people do that, and I want to continue helping myself. So I became a coach. And that was the initial beginning of me building the bridge from the way my life was and the way I thought my life was supposed to be into the way my life was becoming. Building that bridge took a lot of time. It's taken a lot of time diving back into old stories and patterns and expectations and forging, like basically trying them on, seeing how they fit, and then being like, oh, these are not meant for me. These identities, these ideas, these ambitions are not meant for me. Once I found fascial maneuvers, it reawakened that initial inspiration and passion of mine. But the coaching definitely created a really nice foundation because it takes it deeper. Anyway, I'm not here to explain my job to you. The whole reason I was talking about that is because the nervous system work dropped me back into my body. The fascial work dropped me further into my body and opened up my awareness exponentially faster than I could have anticipated. And then it made me hypersensitive to things that weren't working for me. And it's not just that they don't work for me. I have a feeling they don't work for a lot of people, but most people know how to ignore those subtle signs that our body gives us, or push through them, or numb them out in order to just fit in. And that's a lot of what my engagement with social media has been. It's been a calibration of myself to ensure that I can fit in on some level. And that is a very genius way to design something so addictive, because not only does it play into the way that your brain creates dopamine and serotonin so that you become kind of reliant on addictive technology to make you feel some type of way, and to basically ignore the injustices or the things that are not healthy in your life. It also plays into your nervous system and the way that you're wired to survive. Needing to fit in and be liked is a part of our survival. I would argue maybe a little bit more for the feminine biology than the male biology, because men in tribal time would go out alone or in groups of men to hunt for long periods of time and not speak, as far as we know. While women, because we're physically weaker than men, we rely on groups and we rely on being a part of the tribe in order to be safe and survive. So I think that's why we see a lot of women going on social media, portraying themselves in certain ways, almost thirsty for that validation. It's not really their fault. It's actually the genius of their nervous system being used against them. I digress. So yeah, simulated connection, but it exacerbated competition, exacerbated vanity, exacerbated all the shadows. I'm not one that's afraid of shadow work. Like, I like looking at that stuff and repatterning it within me. But at some point, going back to the tainted water doesn't serve you anymore. There's only so much that your body can adapt from. And also taking a break is probably really positive to integrate, recalibrate, and realign, at least for me. I feel like this went on a lot of tangents, or kind of is wordy for what I'm trying to explain here. I'm just gonna jump right into what's happened since I've stopped social media. Now, I still post, and I took about a week or two off of posting, and that took some thought into how I wanted to address that, because the work that I'm putting out there is purposeful and it's helpful to people. And I only make videos that are not in service of myself, they're in service of others, things that people can actually use in their life and implement in their life, and also provides a window into the things that I actually do in my life and work with my clients on. So making video content for me didn't feel like it was draining my energy. It didn't feel like it was coming from an inauthentic place. And so I did continue to post, but not scrolling changed everything. The first week was really easy, and your pride kind of gets in the way. Not in the way, but it like comes up like, yeah, I'm doing something good for myself. I feel so free. I feel X, Y, and Z. It's easy. The second week, a little bit more challenging. Not to stay off of social media. That task in itself is actually pretty easy. But other coping behaviors come up, because you've taken away a very strong dopamine source. This is not just like some gentle dopamine that you get from cuddling with a goat. This is a dopamine dump that happens at any moment that you choose, any moment you feel slight discomfort or don't want to do, like you feel slight avoidance or resistance, you can open up your phone and immediately feel better. And when you take that away, your body's like, hello, like what are we supposed to do when we need to sit down for our taxes and it feels like crap and we really don't want to do it? Like, you've taken away our drug. So for me, some of the coping behaviors that came up, one, feeling depressed, feeling out of place a little, that like feeling like you're searching for something to do, like needing to fill my time some sort of way. And then food definitely did come up for me, like food cravings, hunger coming out of nowhere and not being insatiable, but eating really, really fast. And that one's been the one that I think that stuck with me the most. So week 2 was hard. Week 3 was probably the hardest. That's when I was really searching for something to do. I picked up gum chewing. I really was craving cigarettes, which is funny. I think I had one and it really didn't satisfy anything in me, so I didn't really continue. Organic tobacco, by the way. And just like that searching got a little bit deeper. But within that same breath, my creativity did come back online. I would go through those periods of like, ugh, I don't know what to do. This is really uncomfortable. And then after sitting outside, quote unquote bored, just like listening to the birds or the frogs or whatever, I would feel an inspiration wave come over me, where all of a sudden I wanted to go make a video, or I wanted to play with facial maneuvers, or I wanted to call a friend or schedule some sort of hangout or go play drums. One day I even wanted to paint. I don't think I actually painted, but I wanted to. And that wanting to be creative is the thing that was different. Oh, this was cool too. And by the end of week 2, my dreams came back online. Not my sleeping dreams, those were always active, but the dreams and the projections of my future. That had gone to sleep for a while, and that freaked me out because I've always been a dreamer. I've always been somebody who can come up with these beautiful ideas and see them vividly and feel them in my body. And I really couldn't see a projection of my future, anything that I felt like I wanted to do or really wanted to experience. It didn't just not feel possible, like I knew it was possible, but I couldn't see it. But by week 2, it did come back online. I started to visualize my future as a healer. I started to see what my house was gonna look like. When I built it, I started to see things that I wanted to do and experience again. And that was enough for me to know that my relationship with social media will never be the same. So while it has been difficult at times, as my body is trying to recalibrate its dopamine, while I have started drinking more caffeine and have gone through ups and downs with my food intake and food cravings, and the random cigarette cravings, I know that what I'm doing for myself is positive, and my ability to dream about my future is more than enough to help me keep going. Some other positive things that have happened: feeling more present in my relationship, feeling less irritated, feeling less rushed and urgent, definitely feeling less insecure, wanting to connect with others, and more playfulness. Yeah, that's a good one. I've climbed trees, I've danced, I've roller skated, I've gone for adventures at the park. And that might not be everybody's experience, right? Some people may be able to be on social media and not get drugged down by it. For me, it felt like swimming in a deep ocean that was dark, that I couldn't see the way out of. It was ruling my life in ways that I wasn't consciously aware of until I did stop. Now, if you are considering stopping scrolling, there are a couple of things that are really helpful to do that. One is to create little plans for yourself. And these are not strict routines and plans. These are experimentations, because you are going to have a lot more time throughout your day. And if you're waking up with social media, creating something for yourself that's going to feel nurturing in the morning will be really important. Love that. Sorry, I got interrupted, so I took a little bit of a break. I think what I was talking about was having some sort of plan for when you do decide to take a break from social media. So as I had mentioned before, I had creative things that I'm interested in doing, like playing drums and roller skating and painting and crafting. I love plants. So if you have, just been living, just been going to work, being on social media, hanging out with your friends, filling your time with things, but you're ready to take away one of those time fillers, making a menu of things that you're potentially interested in can be really helpful. And when I say taking a break from content, you've noticed I've always said short form. That's because I have not taken a break from YouTube. I'm not quite at that phase of my life where I'm ready to just not consume at all. However, YouTube for me is not scrolling through shorts, it's utilizing the technology in a way that serves a purpose. So learning about playing drums, or watching fun drum channels to stay inspired, or learning about gardening, learning about keeping animals on our property, learning about, or just hanging out listening to a funny podcast. Not about anything that's going to, cause me internal drama, but things that are going to keep my life light. Because I'm not in a place where I'm surrounded by community all the time, so for me that's really supportive. You might not find that you need it. Once you take some time without addictive technology, you might find that your life is full enough that you don't need a whole lot of YouTube either. All the more power to you. Everybody's going to be a little bit different with this. The next thing is to have some sort of plan for internal dialogue when discomfort happens, because discomfort's going to happen. It's not comfortable to stop a habit, especially cold turkey. I will say that the detox process from social media is pretty quick, which is nice. Like I said, it took about 3 weeks, but it wasn't like coming off of drugs for me. Well, I don't know. We'll just say that it's easy. The detox process is pretty easy. But having that internal dialogue of it's okay to be bored. It's safe to be bored. It's okay to not do anything right now. It's okay to feel uncomfortable, and not trying to fill every single moment of discomfort with something else. Obviously, You might do that sometimes. Obviously, like, it might be so uncomfortable at first that you have to go try painting and go try this and go try that. Like, let yourself kind of flail for a minute. But once you're a little bit deeper into it, the next challenge for yourself will be, can I just sit here and listen to the sounds of nature without doing anything? One day, I didn't know what to do. My body was like, I don't want to do anything, even though I had my menu of things to do. So I sat outside and listened to frogs for an hour. It inspired a Substack article for me. Eventually, my family came and hung out around me, and we had some good conversations. You know, when you allow yourself that space in between tasks or in between roles, or allow yourself to be bored, the inspiration is there born. Like, it comes out of nowhere. But your body really does need the space. Other plans for sleeping. Sleeping may be weird. Like, for me, my morning routine is a little bit more important, it seems, for the entire tone of my day, but other people find that their sleep routine is where a lot of their addictive habits come out. So again, having some sort of like predictable plan, loose or strict, like experiment with both, to give your brain something to hold on to and to give your executive planning a break. Like, you don't want to be in the moment flailing all the time trying to figure out what to do. That's going to make the temptation really strong and really inviting. So yeah, giving yourself like this is what I'm going to do at this time, this is what I'm going to do at this time. If this situation comes up, here is my solution. And you don't have to write it all down if you don't want to. You can just sit up in the morning or while you're out there listening to your version of frogs and think about it. You'll start to see that your mind begins to think about things that are actually important. You may discover things about yourself that you didn't know, interests you didn't know. You may have bright ideas that you didn't know you could birth. And that's what's been so fun for me, is just seeing aspects of my personality both come back online and show up. Super fun. So I don't know, I'll probably do another report on this in a few months, because I'm on my 4th week, and I am just going to plan on keep going. To be honest, I do feel a lot better. Not every day is easy, but as a whole, I feel so much more connected to my life, and that's what I really crave. And it's a slow process of unraveling, I suppose, and rebuilding, but I'm going to be here for it. I'm going to be here for it. A really great book. There's a few books. The book that I'm reading currently is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And while I don't believe that mentally challenging yourself to that level is needed for everybody, the motivation that comes from reading a person's story like that is really helpful and can take some of the seriousness of your current experience away. My goal has really been to find how I can lighten up my life as best as I can, because I found that like the more I took my health seriously and my consumption seriously and started to clean up my unconscious habits, the more serious I got about it, because there's also a lot of jargon out there about how dangerous this stuff is and how addictive it is, and there's all these like fear words out there about our food and about the EMFs and meh, and it makes things feel like you're fighting. And I'm like, but I don't want to feel like I'm fighting. That's just adding more stress to my life. So playfulness and joy and curiosity, intention and lightness have been the themes behind it's been my intention. So I guess my final piece of advice would be to get clear on your intention. What is your intention for your current version of yourself? What is your motivation for making these changes? And what is your intention for your future self? Thanks for watching me ramble. I hope I can stitch this all together and make it make sense. But yeah. Oh, and along my way, I've discovered that I am probably a slow living coach. I've been like trying to find my niche, and I thought it was health, but when I say the word health, people get like all these different kinds of ideas on what that means. I think I'm like reintroducing slow living and bridging it with modern society. So we're not talking extremes, we're talking about intentional balance. Until next time, thanks for watching.